Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. All right, as usual, we have a lot to cover. There's a lot of information. Let's just jump in and get going, shall we? Let's go. We're starting out this morning with Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. She went on Monday, March 20th to visit the ITV Studios, Coronation Street. And there she met cast and members of the production team involved in the acid attack storyline. Very interesting. Still sticking with Anne, Lance Higgeth put this up that he received his OBE from Princess Anne, and he had met Mike Tyndall and Zara Tyndall a few days beforehand. Very interesting, very nice. Congratulations. Next up, King Charles. I found this picture on Twitter, and apparently what he said was, speaking as a grandfather, I think we probably owe it to everyone else's grandchildren to grasp a solution. That's, for keeping everything clean. Love it, and I love the photo. Next up, the King's first biography since becoming monarch has come out, and it's supposed to be a chronicle of his life. I probably will get it and read it, and I love the photo on the front again. All right, moving on. Next up, Princess Eugenie put up a very nice candid Mother's Day photo. Remember, she is pregnant, and the picture is of her and her son. Must be really cold there in the snow, but I do think it's a lovely photo. I love it. Now, in the middle of all this, it came out that Harry and Meghan were very quiet on Mother's Day, and they shared no photos. And everybody went, oh, well, because Mother's Day in the UK was on this day, and Mother's Day in the United States was this day. But it didn't really matter because that day went by, and guess what? Not a peep. All right, moving on. All right, this caught me on Twitter because apparently it's another black person pointing out that Meghan whitewashed herself. She straightened her hair, she had a nose job, and she lived white. This woman said, I don't believe her mother never had to talk with her. I believe she did, and that's why she made the changes, because obviously she looks nothing like what she did. And thank you to Robin Lynn King for those photos. All right, now we're going to move on to Sarah Ferguson. Apparently, she has a friend who's a billionaire, and he's being sued for funding a trafficking ring. His name is Trammell Crow. He's 72, and he's being sued in the United States by two women who claim that they were trafficked and that he's the one who funded the ring. He is a property magnate worth $6 billion. That's a lot. Now, his attorney, Mr. Trammell's attorney, said that the accusations are absurd, blatantly false. And it comes after Fergie's ex-husband, Prince Andrew, was forced to settle out of court. We all know all about that. Now, it's being reported, supposedly, this man maintained what he called lingerie rooms in each property that he owned. Now, a representative for Fergie said the Duchess only met this man once. And, if they only met him once, why are they calling him a friend of hers? I don't get it. All right, moving on. Next up, the article came out saying that Charles was punishing Andrew and Harry in one fell swoop, which I agree, because they said that booting Harry and Meghan out of Frogmore was not just an act of revenge for Harry because of what he wrote about Spare, and it was not merely a cost-cutting move either. In one fell swoop, he managed to look as if he was economizing while at the same time punishing Harry and Andrew. Now, of course, we found out later on that Harry and Meghan weren't paying rent. Apparently, the increase in the property value since the renovation was taken in lieu of rent, and that was running out in January. They were going to have to start paying rent anyway. So, yeah. All right, moving on. All right, next up, this article really caught my attention because seriously, Harry and Meghan didn't think that after Spare came out that they would be the butt of jokes. I don't know how they could possibly have missed it, but apparently they thought that people would be so horrified by quote unquote Harry's treatment And instead, he came across as an entitled brat. They're making fun of him. They're making fun of Meghan. They're making jokes about Diana now, which is something that nobody ever thought could happen. They seriously, in their brains, thought to show Harry as a victim, and it spun out of control. Wow. Now, I'm sure the Sussex squad is going to have a field day with this one, but Harry is not the only person who had Diana as a mother. Now, apparently, Charlotte, George, and Louis have been writing cards and remembering Diana for years, way before Meghan Markle came along. But this year, I think they're just showing the cards to show that they're not the only people remembering Diana. But for some reason, the squad seems to think that only Harry should be talking about Diana. It's like they forgot William even walked behind her coffin, you know? All right, moving on. All right, next up, the king, apparently they warned the coronation plan for Archie and Lilibet is a huge mistake. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. The little girl is not even 2 years old. I don't think that she belongs there. And I would have said the same thing about Catherine's children if they were that young. They're also talking about the amount of pressure George will be under. No, George has been raised in a loving, stable environment. I think he'll be just fine. And why are they attending the coronation anyway? Because Harry already said they wouldn't be there unless Meghan got an apology. She never did. So now they've shown themselves to be hypocrites as well. It's also being reported on Quora that Harry has gone around the route that he was, communicating with anybody and has tried to make arrangements to get his family on the balcony. Let's be honest, that's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, I don't think they're in communication. I don't think there's any negotiations going on. I think that's just tabloid fodder. I mean, let's look at what Lorraine Graham here on Twitter wrote. She's absolutely right. It's no different than the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. They were, if they had to get on the bus that was late for the non-working royals, it wouldn't have played out. So what happened? They were supposed to be in the van with them. They were late. Then they had to have a separate car so they could walk down the aisle on their own. All these problems because they were trying so hard. Then they tried to change the seating arrangements. And in the end, it didn't work. And it's not going to work at the coronation either, but that doesn't mean they won't try to throw a hissy fit. Now, other articles are pointing out that it's not just the immediate royal family that's probably going to be upset with him and is probably going to shun him and his wife. There's going to be lots of royals there for the coronation. And if he thinks anybody is going to talk to him or, anything, he's insane. And on top of that, the UK, people have had enough of him. They really don't like him. The amount of booing is, I can't even imagine. Now, with all of this, we know that one of his big things is security and who's going to keep him safe from the paparazzi. And of course, you guys know that I love Australian news, and they had something to say. Listen to this.
Say it again. Trust nothing that Prince Harry and wife Meghan Markle say. Harry's now in the middle of at least 2 legal cases in his crusades against the media and the Crown. One is his attempt to get personal police protection when he visits Britain, and the other is against the Mail on Sunday newspaper, which he said falsely suggested he didn't want to pay for it. Documents from this legal war have been released, and one from Harry's lawyers said his need for police protection was proved when he went to the Well Child charity event, and when his car left it, he was interdicted by paparazzi, needlessly placing the Duke of Sussex in a dangerous situation. Dangerous situation. The media putting his safety at risk, just like with his mother. But is it true? Joining me from London is broadcaster and commentator Esther Kraku. Esther, I'm on the edge of my seat. Do we trust Harry when he says the media put him in danger when he left that wellness charity?
Well, this is the complication with Harry's case with the Home Office regarding his personal security, because he, in his lawsuit, he asked the Home Office, or the committee in the Home Office that's responsible for royal security, to give him an example of a royal with his sort of threat assessment that has had reduced security. But the problem is there hasn't been a royal of his threat assessment with reduced security, because there hasn't been a royal like him that has left to the royal family. He draws parallels with Princess Diana, but Princess Diana was married to a future king. She wasn't actually born into the royal family, and she did notoriously have an interesting arrangement where she also had her own private security. The issue that Prince Harry, well, the Duke of Sussex, or the Sussexes are having now is trying to actually access intimate and very highly sensitive information that only the police are privy to because of the nature of private security and how it operates in the UK as opposed to in the US. But that would effectively make British police, security for hire, which is a big issue for the Home Office and for the British public at large, because you can't actually hire out the police. You have to be granted a special level of security, which when you leave your role as a working royal, you actually lose, because you don't have the same responsibilities. The committee in the Home Office that's responsible for royal security can actually demote your security status. And so he's been going back and forth with this issue, offering to pay for it. But again, that's just not how this works. And these were one of the things that were pointed out to him when he chose to leave the royal family. So it's going to be interesting to see how the judges rule in this case, because at the end of the day, it comes down to what the Home Office assesses as appropriate security. It's also been alleged that he was told to give the Home Office 28 days notice before he enters the UK so they can do a quick assessment to see what actual security is necessary. He doesn't call the shots here, the Home Office does. And even in the case where he takes the Home Office to court, the courts are still quite limited because you can't rule against the government.
But I tell you what, let's end the suspense. This is the example he gives of exactly why he needs this police protection. One of the examples, at least, him leaving this charity with press apparently interdicting him and putting his life at risk. I mean, seriously, unless that he thinks that car was going to ram him that was coming out of the intersection. I don't know. Honestly, Esther, it's laughable, these people.
And let's not forget this picture. Remember, Meghan was so worried they had to have a bulletproof car with bulletproof glass. And then what did she do? She rolled the window down. Yeah, they're really not that scared, in my opinion. All right, next up, this article came out basically saying that in the years before she met Prince Harry, Meghan apparently became friends with all the people around his circle, or in his circle. Okay, so before she deleted the TIG, it showed who she was friends with, that they knew, that people in the royal family knew. For instance, this is Misha Nunu and her ex-husband Alexander Gilkes. Okay, that was from November of 2014. And here he is pictured with Sarah and Eugenie in March of 2014. And here is Misha with Meghan in 2015. Now, Eugenie and Meghan met in Miami in 2014. And we know that Harry, Meghan, Eugenie, and Jack were all at Misha's wedding in Rome in 2019. Now, interestingly enough, Alexander's younger brother, Charlie, dated Pippa Middleton for a number of years, and during their relationship, that boy Charlie was on the Middleton family boat for the river pageant during the Queen's Diamond Jubilee in 2012. So after they split up, Charlie married publicist Annika Taylor, and the wedding in 2014, Harry attended. In 2014, Meghan Markle did an interview with art curator and interior expert Hikari Yokoyama, and it ended up on the TIG. And of course, wouldn't you know it, she has now been appointed a contributing editor of British Vogue and may have helped Meghan do that September 2019 issue. And that also provided Meghan with a link to Prince Harry through Alexander. And Hikari also has ties to Ellie Goulding, who supposedly Harry dated in the summer of 2016. Next up, you have Millie McIntosh, who was with Meghan Markle at the Soho farmhouse in Oxfordshire in 2016. She supposedly was one of Meghan's best friends until their friendship fizzled out ahead of the wedding to Prince Harry. Go figure that. Now, here's a picture of her with her Made in Chelsea co-star Spencer Matthews in September of 2012. Now, the reason this is significant, it's amazing how this is all interconnected, because in the end, Pippa Middleton married Spencer's older brother, James Matthew, in May of 2017. Now, this picture is Isabel May and Mark Anderson going into Harry and Meghan's wedding. Now, interesting, Meghan befriended Marcus Anderson in 2012. He is the Soho House director, and he's the one who introduced her to PR guru Isabel May. So this girl, Isabel, studied history at Sussex University, and among her clients was Soho House, which resulted in her friendship with Marcus Anderson. And she was at the fashion brand of Burberry, which then employed David and Victoria Beckham's son, Romeo, and Brooklyn. I mean, it's just amazing the way this is all interconnected. You have Violet von Westenholz. She's the daughter of former Olympian skier Baron Piers von Westenholz, who is a close personal friend of King Charles. And Jane von Westenholz, who is a longtime friend of the Queen Consort. They apparently took this picture right about the time that Meghan started dating Harry. And here she is with her at Wimbledon in 2016. And she put up a picture and said, "How much more could I adore this gem? Thank you, Violet." And Violet's been friends with Prince Harry since they were both teenagers and regularly went on skiing trips. You know what I'm saying? It's like she circled the family. It's crazy. Now we're going to back to the coronation and talk about, we already know that people are basically going to snub Harry and Meghan, but they've drawn up the coronation plans, and of course the Sussexes are not included. What I don't understand is why they would want to distance themselves from the royal family and call them racist and slam them at every turn, but then run and be part of the coronation. Why? I don't understand. Pick a side of the fence and get on it. You know what I'm saying? I think they're doing it for Netflix content. Now, really quickly, I want to look at the 15 senior royals that are going to feature in the King's coronation procession right as Prince Louis is being confirmed to attend. Now, while there's lots of things going on, the concert and the lunch, the actual coronation is going to be attended by Prince William, Princess Catherine, Princess Charlotte, Prince George, and Prince Louis. Prince Edward and Sophie, Princess Anne, and her husband, and they're saying that Andrew will be there, although he will not be allowed to wear his military uniform, and he will not be participating in the procession. So for the actual procession, besides Catherine, William, George, Charlotte, and Louis, they're saying that Princess Anne, Vice Admiral Tim Lawrence, the new Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, and the Duke of Kent and his sister, Princess Alexander, will all be, that along with the King and Queen, totals up to 15. Well, a big thank you to Princess Pinocchio for this lovely picture of Bunker Harry. I love this stuff. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Leave the comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you've already hit the button, double check and make sure that you are still subscribed. Don't forget to go up into the description box and you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, as well as the physical address in case there's something you want to mail. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.